What do you do when you have offended someone? Whether intentionally or not, doesn't matter. Do you become defensive and accuse them of being silly or ridiculous or childish? Or do you use it as an opportunity to understand someone else's reality and where they are coming from? I want to tell you a little story today. And this story is not going to make me look good, you guys. I've told you before, I'm a human being. I make mistakes. I have to apologize sometimes. It's not fun, but it has to be done. I say dumb stuff, and it happened to me just this last weekend. It did. I said something dumb. I said something. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, but I did it, and I hurt someone, and I offended them. And I'm going to tell you how this little story happened. So I had a gentleman over Instagram reach out to me, and he and his girlfriend had split up, and they'd been split up for about a week. And he was wanting a little bit of clarity and insight into some of the behaviors that he had been witnessing for a lot of years during their relationship. And we got to talking, and we were having a lovely conversation, very delightful gentleman, and he shared with me that he was biracial. And then he started telling me that he felt like sometimes his girlfriend would really intentionally pick fights. And he said that it made him even more angry because of the culture they were in. So I didn't really understand what he meant by that. And so I pushed back and I said, well, can you tell me about that? What do you mean? Why did that make you culturally more angry? And he said, well, I mixed man, and I was dating a Caucasian woman, and in the area that we live, this isn't something that's always an easy thing to navigate. And so I said, oh, okay, I understand. I live in the Pacific Northwest. These kind of things aren't things that we generally deal with on a daily basis where I live. And so my culture is very different than his culture. And so I said, okay, I think I understand where you're coming from. And this is when I used a word that I didn't realize I shouldn't have used. But I used this word, and he immediately questioned me. And I said, maybe that's not politically correct. Maybe that's not the right term, but this is what I'm trying to say to you. And so he proceeded to tell me that this particular term where he lives is a very derogatory term to certain people, and he told me why. And immediately, you guys, I felt terrible. I did not intend to hurt anyone, but I did. And I felt really, really terrible. And I just said, hey, I am so sorry. And yes, the word I used was ignorant, and I didn't know what I was saying. And I said, I hope that you will forgive me. And I'm happy to say that this gentleman was very, very gracious to me. He was very forgiving. He said, of course I'll forgive you. I don't think that you intended harm. And I asked him, I said, would you be willing to talk with me about this? Because it's not something that's prevalent where I live, and I would like to know more about this. And I wanted to take the opportunity basically to learn about someone else's life, to step into someone else's shoes that I don't know, that I'll never have their experience. And so we did. We ended up having a really nice session. I'd already offered him a free session anyway, so we had a lovely session where we explored, kind of what was going on with his relationship and the breakup and things that had been happening. And then we did touch on this too. And I just wanted to share this story because, I don't get to decide if I hurt someone. That's not up to me. I hurt someone. And so I want to encourage you that, we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes. We're not going to get through life without offending someone at some point. We're going to do it. So I really want to encourage you that if this happens to you, if you inadvertently end up offending someone or hurting them, don't dismiss it. Don't dismiss their hurt. Don't dismiss their pain. Because an offense is a covering for something that is deeper inside of a person. It could be covering something that happened, in their childhood from their parents. It could be abuse they endured. In this case, it's a cultural injustice that's happening. This man had every right to be hurt and offended by my word choice, whether I was privy to the word I was using or not. And what happens when you open up and you can apologize and you can say, help me understand, is you open up a whole new world, a whole new way of seeing things. You're able, if just for a moment, to try to step into someone else's existence and see the world from their view and understand where that offense was coming from and validate the pain, the real pain that they are feeling due to the injustice or the abuse or whatever it is that happened to them. You guys, we are all human beings sharing this planet. We need to reach out to each other and we need to try to understand one another, especially in the light of what's going on with, these people unjustly being killed. And if you don't think it's affecting you, you're wrong. It's affecting you. It's affecting us all. So when you're crossed with this type of a thing, I encourage you to use it as an opportunity to open your worldview, to see the world in a way that you've never seen it before and that you most likely will never see it again.
Thank you for listening. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like it and subscribe to my channel.